Right, we've got a few more in here, so we start where we're going. Bang
Good
on.
morning, Dale.
Good morning, Daniel. Up early, well done. We'll go bang on
Yeah.
to it this morning, Tuesday, the 2nd of March. First news, 7 o'clock. Those of you up early, the retail sales in Germany were pretty shocking. We were going for a figure or something like minus 3.4, and they've come up above 5. So, in my view, basically, on the Tuesday, we would expect a bit of selling coming in, especially to the DAX on the 8 o'clock opening, just on that figure. The US nationwide figure was slightly better, but minus 4.5 is pretty shocking from where we were going. Obviously, at 8:55 with the German unemployment, that we're looking at 9 to 10K, and the employment change 6.4, slightly worse. The figure, obviously, 10 o'clock, we obviously have CPI, and obviously, we're fairly light on data. 140 ECB, Panetta, who's a dove, Brainard from the Fed, and Daly later in the evening, 6 and 7 o'clock accordingly. Going quickly through, Biden's 1.9 trillion bill will be debated this week, and rumours it will start from this afternoon. However, the main vote probably won't be until next week, so I wouldn't overly concern ourselves about that. The bearish news, obviously, overnight again. China is concerned about bubbles in overseas financial markets. Keep your head away from that, because it adds to the other thing about Biden and his obviously march up to see certain conflicts in the world. And those of you who aren't aware of Biden, he's been in power for 49 years. He has voted for every single conflict in the world. So obviously, he probably won't be as generous as Trump or Obama was with China. Again, US Saunders, very left wing. All the cartoons about him. Again, about the 1.9 trillion stimulus bill. He wants the the $15 minimum wage in the relief bill. A lot of the Republicans want that removed. That will be the main stumbling block going forward all week on their debates. So be very much aware of that. Those of you who know about Saunders, shame you haven't got Corey on here, or an American Florida man. He could tell us how much he hates them. Also, the WHO, the World Health Organization report saw COVID cases up for the first time worldwide last night. That may come into the market as well. And just for some fun, just for Charlie, being an Arsenal fan out there, the hedge fund billionaire, so Chris Hearn, got paid a mere $479 million last year. Not bad for trading wise. Okay, right. Let's head over to the market. We saw the volatility yesterday in the indices, which are pretty fierce. With a bit of news out, the ISM is very positive. The PMIs are bang in line. What we're aware of today, obviously, we saw some big moves yesterday on the opening, very clean moves. The only issue we have today, I would say out there, is that retail sales today at 7 o'clock were pretty shite. Being polite, apologies there for the language. However, we do expect, therefore, after having a big rally yesterday, to see some selling on the 8 o'clock opening. Those of you who are new, like Ben and everyone else, welcome. What we do on the opening, we don't anticipate, we don't prejudge. We wait for the scalping, and we wait for the buying or the selling to come in. And obviously, on the right here, I know Ben's new. If you want trader made, Ben, just ask and we'll send it to you. It doesn't cost anything. We have the market profile. Obviously, on the right here, we have the DAX down at near the value. Where we are at the DAX at the moment, we are 62. So we're very near the value low. But the last hour since the figures
You're
come
not
up,
sharing the screen there, Neil, just so you know.
Oh, thank you very much. Well done. Jake, that's your job normally. Again, obviously on the DAX here, we see we're very near the value low, 139.61. It's still early days for a point of control there, but we've been oscillating around there. So the only thing we've got to go for the 8 o'clock, which is in 3 or 4 minutes' time. And obviously yesterday we looked at the FTSE. At the moment, we moved over to the DAX or Eurostox because the retail sales were the main figure. That was fairly bearish. For those of you who are aware of the news that is coming out, Mr. De Gundos, number 2 in the ECB, Christine Lagarde's right-hand man, has been speaking since 7 o'clock, and he's basically been speaking on about the bond yields and how happy he is they didn't extend their rally from Friday. those of you who've got the got the one-to-ones to me this morning. We are doing those lovely bobble chat spreads. The fly 2, 5, 10 years, and you're going to go mad doing that.
Do
I sent you the
5-10.
video. Yeah, you'll be doing it, Daniel. You're on that course today. It's
Yeah.
fairly quiet today. There's not a lot of data out today, especially this afternoon. There is no news. Oh, oh, let's turn the squawk down. As the Squawks just said, we've got Spanish unemployment out at 8 o'clock. I doubt. I mean, I'm not from Spain, but I don't think there'd be great employment there. So that obviously that can be weak. So again, we're going to pump into 8 o'clock and see what is trading. And obviously, we've got our eye open for retail sales being fairly weak. Those, if you look at the chart over here, going from this morning, anything else, bit of red candles, green candles, a bit of a mishmash. Today's the worst day of the week. Looking at figures and everything else. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Obviously, we pick up with obviously more PMIs tomorrow, ISMs, non-farm payroll, and weekly jobless and everything else going into the week. Yeah. So. And obviously, Powell speaking Thursday at 5:05. So don't expect much today. You maybe only trade 3 or 4 times a day. Yesterday was busy when we could trade, and we don't want to overtrade. My eyes will be going on the opening again, seeing if there is a much reaction on that retail sales. Obviously, remember the massive rally yesterday, and therefore, if there are stops in the market from people who bought it yesterday, they will be below the market. Where we're going to work out where the stops will be, we may have to use our market profile as such, go further down the page, or further back to yesterday to see where the POCs were and the value highs were on the DAX, for instance. Again, wait and see. It could be quiet, but again, it's going to be a quick scalp. We're probably seeing some selling coming in as we speak now. Again, how far do we run our scalps? It was a good question. Yesterday, obviously the market was very volatile, and our scalps were obviously larger than normal. Normally on a scalp in the FTSE, we're probably looking at 10 to 15 ticks. Yesterday, that went out to probably 30 ticks. The DAX scalps is probably 30 to 40 ticks. And obviously, yesterday, on the range of the DAX yesterday in the FTSE, what was it, 100 ticks in the first half an hour? The range for the FTSE in the DAX was basically done by 10 o'clock. We had that massive rally up, and we were done and dusted by it. Today could be the same because although we've got a bit of European unemployment out, come at 8.55, and obviously the CPI out in inflation, of which there is no inflation in Europe. I think we're looking at a figure of minus 0.2. That's gone. So I think, in theory, we've got to get our eyeballs and expect if we're going to make some money this morning, it's going to be on the opening, and it'll probably be 8 till probably 8:20. Yeah. So we've had our heads up for the retail sales, and we expect there to be some selling at 8 o'clock. And as we see, there's massive spike. There's a huge spike up there. I just saw that DAX rally 25 ticks on nothing. Again, the volatility again. If we are doing our scalping, remember to keep your finger on the mouse. If you're going to trade, put your stop in. 20, 30 ticks in the DAX. With scalping, you keep your hand on the mouse. I'm not sure what that massive uptick was.
Yeah, that was strange. That
I think what you call that in the game, because it came straight back down again, is a fat finger. I think someone obviously bought something they weren't supposed to buy because we had a massive 20-tick rally on nothing. Yeah, but yeah,
but it didn't stop me out.
Well, maybe you didn't trade then.
It went through me stop, and then it's through me stop now. And the trade's still open.
Interesting. Yeah, well, maybe you want to stop yourself out. Yeah, only because you're on a simulator. You're on a sim, aren't you? So maybe it hadn't stopped you out. But I think that was a very interesting rally. We're looking at the FTSE's hardly moved. But yeah, it's an interesting fat finger when we do get a massive spike up on the opening there. How real it was, or did it go on? What someone could have done quite simply is instead of putting the price in the price box, they could have put the price in the volume box. Yeah, for instance. But keep your eyes open. In fact, on the on the opening here, we're not seeing selling in the DAX. We're actually seeing buying. Yeah, perhaps he did know what he was doing. Again, that's why we keep us tight stops in there. I had my stop in there at 65. Again, after it's been stopped out, the same as I got stopped out at 75. I had a 10-tick stop. As the same thing, we learn as much from being disciplined and stopping ourselves out as we do. But again, on the 5-minute chart here on the green thing here, that huge wick of the candle there tells you how dangerous. We got to as high as 78, I think. As Charlie said, he wasn't stopped out.
No, I did eventually get stopped out.
Maybe it's probably slow. Let's just go in there. And remember, yesterday was very clean. Knife through butter. FTSE went up 70, 80 ticks. The DAX went up 200 ticks. This morning, there is almost a possibility there of, in theory, if you are doing your market profile scalping, you should have been long. Because although it came off before 8 o'clock, from 8 o'clock, all we've seen is buying. Yeah, hence the candle's green. You know, the colour doesn't lie. But also, there was very much an opportunity there of not to trade. Yeah, FTSE's hardly moved. FTSE's moved 3 ticks. Euro Stoxx has hardly moved, and obviously the DAX is back around here. So in a way, you wait for the opening rotation. That normally takes 3-4 minutes for the DAX to sort itself out. But to me, that was just a mess. Yeah. So you have every justification not to trade today. Yesterday, you got a rap on the wrist for not trading, but it was very clean and very obvious to be long. Today, I think probably that the best trade was not to trade. However, on the market profile, according to here, remember the market profile. What we got the market profile? 75 in the DAX. Have a quick look here and update it if we're on the queue. Those of you who are new to well, they've moved the POC down from the on the DAX. So really, as long as we're above 51 now on the DAX, we should be long. We know how to trade that, so we keep it. They've changed the market profile, Daniel. They do it because obviously we had a little dump down just before the figure, and now obviously we're above the value high. So it's still fairly quiet. Yeah, it's still fairly quiet in there. But in theory, if we are trading the scalp on market profile, we should be long. Yeah. Although we realised retail sales was weak, we thought we see some selling there. There was selling for a nanosecond, but not enough to warrant taking a profit. Right, quiet one this morning, and not a lot out. And again, not a lot out today. Keep on that discussion group, and we'll try and fill if any news is coming out. But again, not a lot of data. We listened to some of the commentators coming out to Gundos, Brainard, and obviously Panatta from the ECB later in the day. They are all doves. Charlie, remember that? What are doves, Charlie?
Yeah.
Yeah, doves are think
Bullet
think interest
bearish.
rates.
Bearish.
Yeah. No, doves are people who think interest rates are going to go down, and hawks are think they're going to go up. So all the people talking today are doves. So obviously they're going for more QE, more stimulus. As we're saying that now, we're seeing both the FTSE and the indices high ball up. Yeah. Hence, that's why we use market profile, and it's telling us if we were short to get out. I got stopped out.
Although they say that about interest rates, Neil, that does tend to mean that if it's a dove, it tends to mean it's going to be bearish, though, right?
Yes, in a way, yeah. But in really, when they're talking about doves for central bankers, the main role of a central banker is to set interest rates.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Again, looking at that market profile, that's what we use it for. Hence, although I've lost money being short, I'm happy at a tight stop in there. Yeah. Sometimes figures don't work. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what they say in the next hour about the retail sales, or whether it's just an adjustment from before. All right.
Thanks, Neil.
All right. Good luck. And with those of you one-to-ones, we'll speak to you later.
Cheers, Neil.
Okay, goodbye.
Thanks, Neil.
Okay, goodbye.